Hey everyone, what's up? This is Sean and welcome to the Magic and Thrills. So today I wanted to kind of go through and discuss the back and forth nature of competition between Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando, because I think right now with Epic Universe opening up in under 2 months that it's creating a lot of competition of deals and price competitions and things like that between the two parks. And I think it's a great thing, because without this kind of park opening, because this is the first full new theme park, which is like not an expansion, not like a ride retheming. It's a brand new gate for Epic Universe, and on the back side of that, it's cool because Universal Orlando was already talking and discussing and promoting the idea with their most recent video. They mentioned it, that it is just the beginning for Epic Universe when it's opening. It's just the beginning of what they have plans for, which I think is super rad, because it really brings into theorizing that they're just getting started. And I think it was their CEO that said in an interview a few months ago that they're now aiming their primary goal as a theme park, or as an entertainment company, not just Universal Orlando, but as a whole company. They're aiming to really not just overtake Disney, but be considered the #1 entertainment industry for theming in the world, really, but for sure the U.S. And that's a very ambitious goal. I'm very stoked for that, because again, Disney World has really been, or Disney in general has really been the kind of the Apple version of entertainment for Orlando, for sure, and just movies and shows like that for a while, in a sense. And they do have, the one thing that Disney World has always had it going for them is they've always had the whole nostalgia factor. It's because we all, for the most part, we all grow up on watching the movies and shows by Disney, like Disney Channel even, and that's what kind of gets us started into the parks, if you will. And that's usually at an early age, where even our parents went to the parks as kids, because they've been around. It's been around for that long. Because if you think about it, Universal Orlando was really not much of a heady hitter, or even like a park that you wanted to go to for multiple days back in the day. It just wasn't. It didn't have that kind of featuring as a theme park experience. They had the park, but it wasn't really like a multi-day thing. And Disney World has always been, especially now that they have when they opened up, Animal Kingdom and now Hollywood Studios, being like these parks have been around for a couple of years now, obviously. So they've been priding themselves on building, the ultimate entertainment package of traveling. If you go to Orlando, you think of by default Disney, and I think that kind of stigma is now beginning to change. But I think a big part of it is because Disney World has done it to themselves in a huge way, because it seems like they've kind of stopped innovating internally. And I've said this in other videos too before, and I'll bring it up again because it is really important. But I remember when I was a kid, and I remember when at the time it felt like, or it seemed like, Disney had a new movie in theaters every month, pretty much. And the movies were usually generally really good. They were all really good, whether it was Toy Story or whatever it was. It's one example, but and as the years have gone by. But the weird thing is that as the movie theater experience has gotten more expensive, and with the addition and introduction of Disney Plus, I feel like they kind of shifted their focus incorrectly, in my opinion, or in a weird way, just not the right way, with as far as financially speaking, away from a theater experience over to Disney Plus, because they've invested so much money in the past couple of years on building up the Disney Plus experience. And I don't think personally that was the greatest idea, because it kind of killed off their own releasing schedule, if you will, of seeing a movie in a theater. Because even though it's expensive for sure to go see a movie in a theater, it still builds up that family experience. And I just don't see Disney Plus as being a longevity. What I mean by that is right now every single streaming platform that's whether it's Apple TV Plus, Netflix, HBO, or Max now, all of them are running into problems where the productions and of what they make, whether it's a movie or a series or whatever it is, are becoming so expensive for them to make and take years to make, that they're running into some deficits financially. I remember reading an article just last week that said that with Severance for Apple TV Plus, that Apple literally loses $1 billion every year off of their streaming services just because they're so expensive to make. And Disney Plus is the same way, and so is Max. It's just that these productions are taking so long to do, and because of how these streaming services are starting to bring in these bigger actors where they didn't used to really be that way. It's just they're becoming too expensive to run, so they're losing money on them. And I think that when Disney had Bob Chapek, for example, as CEO, his primary goal, and I watched an interview with him from coming out of COVID, was to really build up and build out Disney Plus to make it into like the streaming king. I mean, and I think that was just the wrong way to go personally. I think that if you wanted to, I think they need to refocus themselves completely on just not only the theater experience, but just also having good original movies these days, because they're doing a ton of remakes and live action remakes of their classics. And I think that's a bad idea. What I mean by when I say all this is that I think that that's one issue that Disney's had. I think they've, again, focused on the wrong areas of putting out their entertainment. Because again, their entertainment, movies, TV shows, all that stuff, original content, is what's in the park. They are a complete IP company. They're not like Universal, where they buy properties like Harry Potter and bring them in and make a huge world out of it and make it really rad that way. They are their own IP. So I feel like this whole thing with Epic Universe, to get back to the subject of the video, I think the whole thing with Epic Universe opening up and how, with what the CEO of Universal said recently, where he was like, again, he was like, hey, we are going to take over Disney and we want to be the primary entertainment travel destination for people going forward. And just with all the stuff that they're introducing from Halloween Horror Nights in Vegas to Epic Universe opening up and already expansion plans for Epic Universe, I think it's totally possible, because right now, again, the only thing that Disney really has is plans and ideas. I haven't seen any construction of new things at all that are going to be ready the next couple of years. And by then, it may even be a case where Epic Universe and their expansion plans are already taking off. Because Epic Universe, like again, for Universal Orlando, they want to make that money back. Because again, the Epic Universe, I think, was around $8 billion is what I heard, to make it, to produce it from scratch, to make open. So they're in the business now of making as much money back as what they spent in for it, while also continuing to expand it as a park too. And I don't see anything right now from Disney doing that. So I think all the deals, like for example, all the deals that I explained in another video that Disney is doing for the summer are like a minimal effort to get people to go back. Because I think that Disney is trying to plan to where people go to Universal Orlando for Epic Universe, which is like a 1-day thing, maybe 2 days, although many people are going there for as many as they can, honestly, because of how much stuff there is to do there. But I think that Disney's trying to pick little pieces of people's travel plans and have them come into Disney World for like a day or two at least, with offering like half off kids tickets and discounted rooms. And it's a good thing to have that, but the best thing about that is that it creates competition which has not existed between Disney World and Universal Orlando at all for decades, as far as I'm concerned. So I think it's a great thing, a great opportunity for them both, because they're now starting to not attack each other, but kind of one-up each other with competition. And what that does for us as tourists or as visitors to the area is it gives us more stuff to do, and it gives us better deals. It really does. I mean, just for this June, when I'm going to Orlando for a week and with my kid, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of both. I'm doing Disney World and I'm doing Epic Universe. And the pricing for the hotels and the tickets were expensive, honestly, but the hotels were almost half off. So I saved a ton of money for both Disney and for Universal hotels, just because of their competition right now between trying to out discount each other because of this competition. So I think it's a great thing. I think the future itself, though, is uncertain for Disney, because again, they don't have much of any films coming out. They have they have releases coming out, but it's not going to be for the next couple of years or so. Not to mention all their new park stuff that's been announced is going to be at least 4 or 5 years out before it's open to anyone. So I think the competition is a great thing, but I do think Universal right now, Universal Orlando, is crushing it. I think that Disney needs to be a little bit more aggressive, because they have not really done much at all. And again, I have a whole video on all this stuff, but I really wanted to go into the competition of it all, because the best thing about the competition between these two companies is that for the most part, us as consumers, as people experiencing it, are going to have the reap the benefits of it all. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I'd love to hear that. Your just everything, whether you like it, dislike it, of course, as always. If you have any trips coming up, things like that, and just what you think about the competition between the two companies, and just your feelings on that. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you on the next video.